Yes, hello friends. In today's session, we will discuss about economic slowdown. So we will move as well as our basic structure, that is 7 day structure. After that, we will discuss about basics of some of the GDP terms and everything we will discuss. Later, we will go for the UPSC previous questions with respect to mains and prelims. Then we will conclude as usual. Right. So before that, let me share some disclaimer as well as. So in this channel, we all know I'm going to discuss the editorial analysis from the newspapers like the Hindu, the Pioneer, and Telangana Today, right, and Financial Express. So friends, small intro about myself. I am Satya ji, and I am author and coach. So you can find some of the books, whatever I have written on Amazon. You can check out there. And if you find value from this channel, you can consider following myself. Thank you so much. So this is small intro and disclaimer. Directly we will move to where the article has come and everything we will see. So this is the article. So this is the heading. Right friends, I have let me share some of the glimpse. Hope it is visible. What to read and what not to read, and how to move your reading speed with respect to article. Straight away try to capture the important points whenever I am moving the cursor. So friends, in the starting they have mentioned some of the stats like how the GDP decreased, that one thing, and try to imbibe these statistics in your answers whenever you are writing economic questions, and try to remember that who given that stats also, especially RBI, right? So here RBI they are mentioned. After that, what about the Minister of Finance expecting GDP growth, and how much percentage coming from total India's GDP from the domestic and as well as the private investment, like 30% and 70%, that we should know. And what is this domestic consumption, and right, and what and investment, everything you should know. After that, these are the different types of statistics. It is not possible to remember for everybody, so you can ignore these. Then try to or some of the tax reforms. So corporate tax, what is the actual they are imposing, and which type of percentage for new manufacturing and existing manufacturing. There are different types of slabs are there, like 15% for new and 22% for existing enterprises. So that you should remember. Right. So at the same time, foreign firms they reduced 40 to 35%. That is another important thing. When it comes to individuals, how the new tax regime is benefiting, they have mentioned. And if the tax is decreased, then the income in the hands of the people will increase. Then they are going to spend more, ultimately um, improving in the GDP. At the same time, what is Oxfam and which report it publishes? So recently it published inequality kills report. What it says, that is the very very important. So that you should remember. Then go to this. Who is this Thomas Piketty? He is the one of the Paris economist, and what he's saying about our India's income inequality and how he's comparing. So that we will discuss. That is very very important stat. That also if you remember. After that, you can ignore some of the points in this which are more stats and which are not relevant for examination, and everything you can ignore. Mhm. Then another important points you can try to see about this SMEs, right? How SMEs benefits for India's economic growth, like especially employment generation, and how they are competing with the large scale enterprises, that you should also think about it. Then at the final time, we have farmer issues with respect to the structural issue that you also remember. So finally, he's questioning the sustainable growth. So this is overall what we should read and try to remember the contents. But it is not possible to every aspirant to frame these important key points and connecting with the existing subject. So friends, that's why here in this channel we are going to discuss in a structured format. It is 7 day structure. So let us go live. How to read the content and how to form this type of activities, everything we should read, right? So let us see the contents, how we are going to learn in a structured format. I hope my screen is visible. Yes. So friends, yeah, let me start the content. So this is the article came in the Pioneer newspaper dated 23 December. So friends, though it is 24th December, I will discuss any important articles regarding to today in coming sessions. So let us discuss yesterday's article, which is very, very important. So, so friends, we should discuss about introduction, right? So, yes. So the first one is the introduction or why it is in the news. RBI expected India's economic growth at the percentage of, right, GDP growth at the percentage of 7%. But if we see quarter two, right, friends, if we see quarter two results Q2 FY24, right? So here the growth is slowdown, that is 5.4%. This is the news, right? So that's why we are discussing economic slowdown concept. Got it? And they are estimating what are the reasons, what are the causes for this slowdown of economy for this financial year FY 24-25, right? So that is majorly thinking about still there are structural challenges in our economy. Then income inequalities. Income inequalities. So in the article, majorly they focused these two things for this economic slowdown, right? This is the intro. Then we will discuss about some of the background. So in the background, friends, we will discuss some of the definitions or fundamentals. So GDP is the one of the term everybody should know. It is the gross domestic product. It is the sum of the, it is monetary value of all finished goods, all finished goods and services produced in a country, in a country in a year or quarter. So based upon this quarterly estimation or yearly estimation, we are going to calculate the GDP, right? So why this GDP is important? Why should we calculate? So the importance of GDP is very simple. It measures the performance of economy, any economy, whether it may be India, whether it may be a US. It measures the performance of economy. Then at the same time, it measures the health of the economy. So if it is good, if it is growing at a constant, then everybody will see in that economy. It boosts investors. It attracts investors, right? The economy is growing, then we will get FDIs, FFIs, some other investment we will get, right? So these are the importance of this GDP. So in GDP, if we see some more basics, we'll talk about the types. We have three types of GDPs. One is nominal GDP. Friends, here we don't consider, right? We don't consider inflation. It is calculating without inflation as per the definition of GDP. So that's why it is the nominal GDP, right? It is the current market prices without adjusting of inflations. Got it? And second one is the real GDP. Real GDP. So it considers the inflation. Very simple. It considers the inflation. With inflation, we are calculating the monetary value of all finished goods and services with inflation. And third one is the per capita GDP. It is very simple. Total GDP, total GDP by total population divided by total population. So these are the three GDPs we have, right? So these per capita GDP help us to estimate the average income. So it help us to measure the average income of the people in India or some other countries. And second one is it measures the standard of living. If per capita GDP or per capita income is growing, then living standards of that country people is good or better. This is the benefit of this per capita GDP. So here another term is GDP growth. So what is GDP? GDP is the monetary value of all finished goods and services produced in a fixed time in a fixed boundary. So this is quarter one, right? This is quarter two. We are measuring GDP in terms of quarters. So if there is any improvement, right, from quarter two to quarter one to quarter two. Suppose let us assume it is 6%. If it is 7%, so there is a growth. So this growth is measured in terms of how much percentage. So what is here GDP growth? So now it is 7 minus 6 divided by 6 into 100. This is the GDP growth measured in percentage. Very simple calculation. So this part, quarter one, whatever the quarter one GDP, it is known as the base, right? Very, very important. This is the base. So that's why we are giving in the denominator, we are using base. So friends, previous year UPSC question paper, they have given one of the term base effect. Base effect related to which of the following? They have asked, that is related to the GDP growth calculation, right? Very important. So don't underestimate the concepts. Now we will see as a part of background how the growth patterns of India are there when it comes to GDP. We will discuss. So in India, so let me write the patterns. In India, let us assume 100% is the GDP. So nearly 70% of this, right, 70% of this comes from the government consumption, comes from the domestic consumption, sorry. So domestic consumption, it means consumption. See, in domestic consumption we have both government consumption as well as private consumption. Another remaining 30% comes from the investment, right? So here, this is the capital, this is the capital or capex by both government as well as private. Got it, friends? At the same time, if we see with respect to government led capex, I am not talking about private led or some other thing. So, govt led capital expenditure is constantly increasing. It is very, very important. It is increasing from 2021 to 2024 25. Yes, friends. So, if we see capital expenditure by the government during the financial year 2021, the capex was 4.39 lakhs, in lakhs crores. If we observe this financial year, it is around about, very simple and easy to remember, 11.11 lakh crore capital expenditure. So the trends are suggesting government led capital expenditure or investment increasing in our GDP. At the same time, private expenditure that is ignoring, that is very less. That we should to catch the point here. Got it, friends? If we observe some of the statistics in the same here, we need to talk about Oxfam reports. Oxfam reports. Oxfam measures inequality. It talks about income inequalities or wealth inequalities. Generally, the Oxfam talks about in these two categories. So recently, it published one of the report known as, the report name is, anybody can comment in the chat box. It is very, very important for our upcoming exams. It is very interesting term, that is inequality, we all know, but they are mentioning inequality kills. This is the report name. So this is the report name, inequality kills. As per this report, in 2021, the top 100 richest person, top 100 richest persons in India possess or contributing 25% of GDP. This is the important statistic you need to mention in your answers. So these are the background till now what we discussed. Now we will talk about some of the growth model. So generally we will mention it as advantage in our concept. So growth model of India we will discuss. So what about the advantages with respect to present growth model of India? So friends, it is very resilience. Whatever we are following, it is giving resilience in global context. So if we see, we are achieving at least average of 6 to 7% growth. It is providing strong, resilient and support, and it is giving a tag of fastest growing economy in the world. Fastest growing economy in the world. So this is the positiveness of our present model, right? And when it comes to in this model, we are giving government-led government-led investments, that is capex. So we have already discussed the trends, how the capex is moving, how the capex increased from 2021 to 24-25, right? So the capital expenditure increasing a lot. So why the government is spending? So if we spend on infrastructure development, right? So capital expenditure generally spends on the infrastructure and construction of machinery. So machinery installment and building constructions. Totally, it is creating some of the assets like durable assets. Whenever we are doing this type of investment on these things, there we are able to create jobs. Jobs will increase. So income goes to the people. People can spend. That boosts the economic activity. It improves in the long term. So these are the things whenever we are doing capex, that capex give benefits for economy in the long run, not immediately, but in the long term benefits we are getting. So this is our model, what we presently following and what we are getting. So in our present model, we are promoting some of the tax reforms, especially corporation tax. So it is a direct tax, is the direct tax imposed on the companies. So friends, for new manufacturing company, new manufacturing, government reduced the tax to 15%, very affordable. And whatever the existing firms and companies are there, the government reduced the corporation tax to 22%. So if it is a foreign company or a foreign firm or manufacturing unit, then it is reduced to 35% from 40%. 40 is converted to 35. So it is the beautiness what government is taking with respect to manufacturing units and companies, right? So Indian government also taking some of the measures for the tax reliefs with respect to persons or individuals, especially government of India promoting new tax regime. So whenever the tax is reduced, income in the hands, income in the hands, income in the hands is known as the disposable income, disposable personal income, because it is in the hands. So disposable personal income increases, then they are going to spend. Finally, it is the circulation of economic activities. So these are the broadly what government of India presently doing, right? And it is promoting in the economy, right? Now we will discuss some of the challenges with respect to why the economy for quarter 2 reduced. It is 5.4% GDP. What expected? 7% expected by the RBI, but it reduced to 5.4%. So what are the reasons or challenges for this economic slowdown? We will discuss. Right. Majorly, they are talking about declining in the urban demand. So urban demand declined during this quarter. So it means consumption is decreased there. Even though there is production from the government side or on the private units, but the consumption by the people is very low. That is one of the challenge. And second one is the income inequality. Income inequality. So friends, in the article they are mentioning about one of the economist from the Paris, that is Thomas Piketty. So what the economist Thomas Piketty mentioning about Indian income inequalities? He says India's top 10% population. So he's talking about nation wealth. India's top 10% population controls nation wealth, nation wealth, entire nation wealth by how much percentage? 55 to 60 percentage. So how much percentage they are controlling? 55 to 60% they are controlling, top 10%. If we observe other countries, it is around about 35 to 40%. In India, it is almost 2x. The top 10% population controlling entire nation wealth is the total income inequality or wealth inequalities. We can give. So this is another challenge why the economic slowdown with respect to quarter 2. And next challenge is we are over depend on the government spending. So over dependency from the background advantage, everything in every section I'm talking about government spending, government spending. It is capex, capital expenditure. It is increasing. So that is the problem. That is the problem. We need to promote private expenditure or private investment in the economy, but that lacks. That is another challenge what they are discussing with respect to quarter 2 economic slowdown. Another structural challenge is that is agriculture. Friends, if we talk about agriculture challenge, it is a vast subject, but we will straight away end by quoting about MSP. So farmers expecting their produce, they're able to sell at MSP as per the government norms. But these norms are on paper. When comes to practical, it is not implementing. The traders are not willing to purchase at MSP. They are giving, they are taking their produce at lower than MSP. So that is the one of the challenge with respect to economy we can talk. Even though there are a lot of structural issues in the agriculture itself when it comes to economy, but we will ignore. Next one is MSMEs. So there are a lot of challenges with respect to MSMEs also. It is a structural challenge, right? And when it comes to another challenge is we are over depend on the service sector. I'm talking about general. So we need to improve our manufacturing sector. So that is the thing. So friends, I'm slightly deviating from the today's article discussion, but these are the points which are relevant for this topic. So now we will talk about another section, that is what our government is doing to overcome these type of challenges in the economy and to help boost quarter 3 GDP growth. So what the government is taking, that we will see in the next section. So friends, we know government is doing a good thing. So in the budget, if we talk about budget, so budget is increasing every year, 20, 21, 24, 25. So what is the outlay of this budget? Anybody can comment in the chat box. So it is around about 30 lakh crore, 30 lakh crore in 2021. When it comes to here, it is 45.2 lakh crore, right? So at the same time, in the economy, if we see capex, so capex is also increasing a lot. It is 11.11 lakh crore. It is around about 4 lakh, almost more than 3x. It is coming here, right? So slightly 3x. So this is the government what doing from its side, right? And it is talking about some of the solutions like tax reforms. It is talking about in terms of both corporation tax, that is CT, and IT, individual income tax. Corporation tax, IT and CT, it is talking about, and MSMEs. So a lot of schemes and promotion of these MSMEs, government taking measures, right? So finally, to provide, it is trying to solve some of the structural issues that are skills. And when it comes to farmers, it is giving another boost like many schemes. It may be MSP enhancing, right? And giving finance like insurance, promoting fertilizers subsidy. There's a lot of things are there for farmers. That is PM Kusum, converting their diesel pumps to solar things and providing some of the incomes. So friends, we can mention slightly outside these concepts, but these are the more relevant things, that is budget outlay, tax reforms, and MSME support, and skill development, and farmers things. Got it, friends? As an aspirant, in the next section, what about your views? That we will discuss. So friends, in the views, we can talk about optimistic, at the same time, critic things and equity things. These are the three headings what we should discuss our topic. So being an optimist, we can emphasize the government's ability to stimulate the growth. So here our concept is GDP growth, right? So our concept is GDP growth. To stimulate this GDP growth, it is possible through if we improve our speediness in the infra projects speediness. And the second thing is what is it? Tax reforms. Tax reforms. So these are the push, immediate push we need to give for our economic growth. And next one is the slightly we can talk about critic things. Being a critic, you can criticize the some of the points relevant to this slowdown in the economy or economic growth. So we can talk about totally we are over reliance on the government spending and ignoring the private spending. So government spending is increasing, it is not good for the economic growth. At the same time, we are ignoring private spending. Is less. It is not good for the GDP growth. Right. When it comes to equity, being an equity advocate, we need to consider various like it is a inclusive things like this. So we can consider all the people like farmers. In the economy, agriculture is a backbone. So considering the farmers and providing best MSP and addressing their farmer challenges, right? And when it comes to manufacturing sector, so we have the labor, so labor policies and their wages, their security, everything we need to talk about. And especially wages. If the wages are increasing, then income in the hands will increase. Finally, economic growth will moves or growth will be in the positive. So in the article they are mentioning about BSE 1500 companies. They are talking about 1718 to current financial year 24-25. The companies double their profits. So the profit is X in this year, but now it is 2X. So they double their profits, but the salaries or wages for their employees are not doubling. They are not 2X. That is the major challenge, right? That's why we need to talk about increasing the wages in the equity side. So friends, now we are concluding our this concept, which is economic slowdown in the quarter 2 of FY22. Uh, So in the balanced conclusion, we will close it. So it is a temporary slowdown. As the finance minister said, it is a temporary slowdown in our GDP. So why it has come? So it is a temporary temp slowdown. This slowdown due to right. So this slowdown due to short-term factors like lack of urban demand and income inequalities, and some of the these income inequalities and agriculture things. These are the deeper structural challenge. there are both things. There are deeper structural challenges, like deeper structural challenges and short-term challenges like urban consumption slowdown. Right, friends? So to overcome these, we need to increase focus on the private consumption, one thing, and so let me talk about the. So directly we can talk about private consumption increase, then wealth distribution, because it is a major challenge, right? So everybody talking wealth distribution and addressing the income inequalities, wealth distribution that should be done, right? Another one is inclusiveness, inclusive of marginalized sections as part of economic growth, marginalized sections. So by addressing these issues with the help of these solutions, we can strengthen our GDP growth trajectory, and we can also achieve long-term sustainable economic growth. Long-term sustainable economic growth we can achieve. Not only this, our aspirational, that is, economic aspiration is becoming third third largest economy. Yes, friends. So like this, we can comment conclusion, right? Yes. So friends, till now we have discussed this concept in a beautiful way. So let me talk about the some of the questions. I hope we have covered in detail, and I didn't touch more basics here. At the same time, I have given balanced approach, right? So I hope we have covered a lot of stats as well as some of the current affairs. At the same time, basics also. So it is a balanced approach. Everybody should include this type of learning, even though it is taking some time, but over a period of a time, we can reduce our time and we can analyze every concept in this beautiful way, and we can remember the things for long term and easily write answer MCQs, or we can write essays and mains questions also. So friends, now we will discuss some of the previous questions which are relevant and previous year questions with respect to this concept, that is economic slowdown, and some of the concepts like income inequality and growth and everything we will discuss. Friends, the question is examine. It is very very important whenever you are writing, try to understand what the question tag examine. It means we need to mention with examples and some of the stats. So examine the interlinkage between income inequality and economic growth. So we need to define what is income inequality and what is economic growth. So as per our article, one Paris economist, that is Thomas Piketty, so that we can quote our income inequality report, that is inequality kills, given by Oxfam. With that, you can start the question and try to establish the linkage with the help of examples that you can talk here. When it comes to second question, the tag change, that is discuss. It means positives, negatives, and finally conclusion. So impact of economic reforms on growth of Indian economy. They are mentioning economic reforms. So what are the challenges with respect to inclusive growth? So friends, slightly beyond our topic. So deep dive yourself with your knowledge. Let us talk about relevant practice questions. What are the key reasons for recent slowdown in Indian GDP? So whatever we have discussed, all the challenges like urban demand, right? So declining in urban demand, over depends on the government spending. You can discuss how the budget is increased from, at the same time capex increase. Everything you can discuss. And income inequalities. Talk about that Paris economist as well as Oxfam report, right? And farmers and MSME issues, right? So these are the major things. First three are major things, and MSME also we can consider. Reasons for the economic slowdown for the Q2 FY24. Suggest measures to revitalize growth, ensuring inclusivity. Friends, whatever measures we have taken are discussed in the government role, that you can straight away discuss that points, and we can also discuss inclusiveness of all the people, like all sectors, like agriculture sector we should discuss, manufacturing sector, MSMEs, service sector. That is one part. At the same times, all the section people, like we can talk about SC/STs, women, marginalized sections. It means SC/STs and some other backward caste that are marginalized, so marginalized category people, that we can also include our economy. Examine the structural challenges in Indian growth model, such as income inequalities and declining urban demand. So how these can be addressed? Friends, deep dive yourself, and you can also comment your important points below the video. Right. So now we discuss, right. So MCQs. So friends, yeah, the term base effect, they are mentioning base effect related to which of the following? So friends, anybody can answer. So very, very important. In the basics concepts, I have discussed what is this base effect. It is related to GDP growth. So you can move to forward this video and check the what is this base effect. Consider the following statements. Tax revenue as percentage of GDP of India has steadily increased in the last decade. It means 10 years they are mentioning. At the same time, fiscal deficit as percentage of India steadily increased in the last 10 decades. So friends, if you observe any pattern, that will be in the sinusoidal view. There will be some increase, some decrease, increase, decrease. So it is easy to answer this type of questions. So both are wrong. Which of the following best describe the term inequality adjusted HDI? So it is the economic inequality in the country. It is a composite index. Yes, friends, it is the composite index which has inequality in income and education and health. So HDA talks about, general HDA talks about health, education, skills, nutrition. These type of things are components talked by the HDA. But here they are inequality they are mentioning. So inequality in the income we can consider, right? So friends, if we discuss inequality, there are different types of inequalities. Whether it may be income, it may be a wealth, right? Inequality in terms of skills, inequality in the digital things. Many things are there, but limit ourselves to this concept because we are studying the economic concepts. With respect to Indian economy, right? So with respect to Indian economy, consider the following things. The growth rate of GDP has steadily increased in the last 5 years. Okay. Growth rate per capita income also steadily increased in the last. So friends, just now I have discussed in India or any country, it is not be a straight thing. It will not be a like a linear, or it is a, not a uptrend. Whenever it goes, again it comes back like this. So very easy to answer this question. So relevant questions regarding to our this editorial. So which are the following reports published by the Oxfam? Very easy to answer. If we have read this article, it is easy to answer. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So inequality kills. As the name suggests, it is very different. Inequality kills. Yes, friends. So friends, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, conclude this video right now. And we will again catch up in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.